Some excitement at the Botanic Gardens of Sydney.
With the corpse flower set to bloom for the first time in nearly 20 years. Thousands of people are set to flock to the gardens to get a whiff of this foul-smelling floral.
People have got this rare life opportunity to go and see a princess of horticulture.
There is a new star in Sydney.
The city is obsessed with Putricia. Putricia is beautiful. She's one of the true divas.
She is a queen.
Forget about Swiftie tickets. This is the hottest ticket in town.
The corpse flower that has captured the hearts, the minds of the world and the nostrils as well.
Corpse flower? A corpse flower?
The corpse flower at the Sydney Botanic Garden. It's one of those things that's just brought the world together.
This is the joy of nature.
Looking back at Putricia, I didn't realise just how special an event it was, and I didn't really appreciate how it opened the door to so many amazing things. We're talking about conservation in a way we've never spoken about, and that is the best thing about Putricia. So often she grows in the afternoon. Identifying an Amorphophallus flower is notoriously difficult and very slow going. The leaves and the flower look very, very similar. And it's only as it starts to get bigger and bigger that we're able to look for telltale signs. We knew it was a big deal, so when we did finally realise it was a flower, we sent out emails to everyone and said, guess what? We have a flower.
Today is Monday the 13th of January, and have you ever heard of the corpse flower? Horticulturalists at the Sydney Royal Botanic Garden are gathering to prepare for an extraordinarily rare event, the blooming of a giant corpse flower.
So today it's 690 mil, and it's probably got about a metre or a metre and a half to grow still until it fully opens. At the moment, we know it's growing about 5 to 10 centimetres a day. And when it sort of stops growing, that's when we'll know it's about to bloom.
They don't just flower every year. It can take 10 to 15 years for the plants to produce one of the largest flowering structures in the world.
It's a plant that grows in Sumatra and Indonesia. It grows as a tuber underground, and then every so often it'll put up a vegetative stalk, like a small tree with some leaves over it, and then spectacularly every so often it puts up this flower, the largest flowering inflorescence in the plant kingdom. It opens up and it does stink like you've got a dead possum in the roof. It's considered quite rare and endangered because of its size, because of the odour it puts out, and the fact that the flower only lasts for 24 to 48 hours once it's opened out.
Our Pardon Arum collection we've been caring for decades, but it's been more than a decade since we last saw one bloom.
So the first corpse flower bloom that we had was in 2004, and it was very exciting because we'd been working on this species with partners in Indonesia. There was a lot of anticipation. We did have quite large queues of people coming to visit.
It was incredibly exciting. I was a young horticulturalist working in Middle Gardens, and when we started recruiting volunteers to help out, I remember saying to that first group of volunteers, this will probably be the single event you remember most from your time volunteering. I remember getting a phone call probably around 8:30 at night to say it was starting to open, rushing in here into the old tropical centre to see it. It was absolutely incredible. So when I first heard that we had another one flowering in early 2025, I knew it was going to be a big event, but I had no idea just how enormous this event would become.
We knew it was a big deal. We were just thinking, I guess, next step, we should think about whether we're going to display her.
We had many conversations about how we were actually going to move her, which door to use, how we'd support her to make sure that she didn't fall over.
I don't think many people are maybe crazy enough to try and move such a large, heavy flower.
The problem with the Amorphophallus is it's very narrow at the bottom and really top heavy, so it could topple really easily. There was no Googling moving Amorphophallus titanum into another space. We had to get super creative. In the end, we sliced a memory foam wedged pillow, gently placed that around and taped her, but at the same time had people holding her as we moved her. She had to go from a glass house in the back of a buggy. Lifted down off the buggy and slowly wheeled into her final staging position in the palm house.
So when I first started to think about how we would frame Putricia for our visitors, it was really a perfect marriage of the Victorian building and the Gothic plant. The inspiration for the display was Queen Victoria's funeral, mixed with Little Shop of Horrors, a bit of an homage to David Lynch, mixed with some vintage sideshow just for fun. So Victorian Gothic is a wonderful genre and we really played into that. Absolutely stunning. We wanted to bring in lots of plants that would complement not only her kind of tropical nature and her homeland, but also to celebrate her beautiful colour palette that she would have. We walked through the glass houses and we selected tropical plants as well as other Amorphophallus titanums so that she would have family members surrounding her in her glory. Putricia is astounding. She is glorious, she is stunning, and we wanted to create something that was really up to the standard of exactly what she deserves. The video was so successful, and I think that is a testament to Putricia and how she captured everybody's imaginations and hearts, and the whole world was in love with the plant.
A 24-hour live stream is available on YouTube for those who are unable to attend the event, but thousands are expected to flock to see and smell the flower in the next week.
Like everyone, I was obsessed with the live stream. It just came upon my Instagram feed one day.
As soon as they announced that the glass house was going to open, I was making plans to go down there. I thought it was going to bloom within like 2 or 3 days.
Well, we're waiting with great anticipation. I've just measured the temperature of the base of the flower with the digital infrared thermometer. It's still very cold, and that's giving an indication that perhaps tomorrow afternoon, maybe on Sunday, when it'll be properly open and releasing its pungent smell.
There were crowds coming in to see her, lots of people lining up.
It's just so good to come in here today to feel the vibe of all of our guests who have lined up for hours just to see this amazing plant. It makes my heart sing to see that Putricia has gone global. Really goes to show that plants and nature are in the heart of everyone.
How far have you travelled to come see Putricia?
From Germany.
Shell Harbour.
Singapore.
Los Angeles.
And when do you think she's going to start flowering?
Definitely tonight, I would say.
Staff at the Royal Botanic Garden are eagerly awaiting the birth of a so-called corpse flower with the red carpet rolled out.
She is putting horticulture in the biggest spotlight. And Putricia, which is the name they've given her, in Indonesian, Putri actually means princess.
I've got friends that were watching the live stream with the kids on the weekend.
The corpse flower is ready to bloom any day now.
My favourite one is simply, we watch the flower. WWTF. Yep, that's what they do.
That's what they've been doing for over a week now.
This has been quite the sensation. 1.5 million viewers on YouTube and on TikTok. The WDNRP.
Yes.
We do not rush Putricia.
We do not rush Putricia.
This has required an awful lot of patience.
This is the joy of nature. It doesn't matter. No money, no influence, no power can make this happen any sooner. And we just have to wait.
It's really lovely that you're all here showing interest in her at this early stage. The drop in temperature may delay that, but that's fine, and it's Mother Nature, we don't know, and that's a part.
As the days went by and events and assets kept asking every day, what do you think? Is it today? Is it going to open today?
The tension kind of grew over these days and we were starting to worry. She just didn't seem to be doing anything.
People were telling us she should have flowered by now, she should have flowered by now.
You know, asking what if she never opens, and I was like, oh, stop. We do not rush Putricia.
I'd come in at 4 in the morning before anyone was here just to quietly assess, because I knew I'd be asked if it was going to happen that day.
And then just when we'd given up all hope, I went down to the palm house and we could see that she was starting to unfurl, and that feeling of relief and joy swept through us all.
We all just kind of like fangirled a bit.
And I was like, oh my God.
There was a lot of hugs and a lot of, right, all systems go.
A corpse flower in Sydney's Botanic Gardens is finally starting to bloom.
It's a reception worthy of a rock star.
People waiting in a 3-hour line to experience a momentous bloom.
It was euphoria, totally. Like, it was a really deeply emotional feeling.
And it was just the most wonderful, wonderful moment. I'm gonna cry again. Sorry.
Wow, getting very emotional. I'm turning into Sophie.
You could just walk along and feel the buzz of excitement. We could see the number of people watching on our YouTube live stream increase significantly.
We have a Putricia superfan with us. Tell us, how many times have you gone to see Putricia?
It's my 3rd time now.
Her odor was as magnificent, as pungent as anyone describes it.
It was really beautiful, like nothing I've ever smelt before.
She smelt like horrible, dirty teenage socks mixed with cat food in the sun. Absolutely gross. But because it was such a wonderful and joyous chapter in my life, now the smell of dirty socks makes me happy, which is weird, but it's true.
Being in the gardens so late at night and so many people around, I think pollinating Putricia, or attempting to pollinate, was terrifying, honestly.
The pollinating process was very much like operating on a human in an operating theatre, but for us, we were trying to do so with thousands of people walking past, lots of curious questions, and of course, the stench that Putricia is well known for.
Into having pollen productive at the moment, so you're in for it.
We were literally carving into a plant that none of us had seen the inner workings of, and capturing pollen and transferring it over 24 hours and taking it into storage and doing experiments on it with our science team that allowed us to really understand the physiology of this plant and why it's so important that we conserve it for future generations.
This is a sorbent tube that the compounds that make up odour will stick to. I've been interested in corpse flowers for a long time because I study the odour of decomposing human remains. And I wanted to compare the odour of the corpse flower to an actual corpse to see if there's any truth behind the name. So what I do is I collect the odour samples and analyse them back in the lab. Odour is used a lot in forensic science, which you wouldn't really expect. And it's how detection dogs locate victims in mass disasters, both living victims and deceased victims. So all this work really hinges on the donors, and we're all really forever thankful.
I don't think there's too many people around the world that can say that they've done a pollen viability experiment on a corpse flower. And that will tell us that the pollen are viable, which we can then be confident that we can send that viable pollen to other corpse flowers around the country and indeed the world. Now, just looking for pollen grains that we can see a tube. Here we go. This is looking good. Those pollens have germinated.
Obviously, the science is crucial. We are not going to have any Amorphophallus to return to the wild unless we really invest in the science and in the conservation. The event took an amazing effort, and I'm so proud and so happy to have been part of it, really.
We want the flower!
We closed the doors at midnight. The live stream was ended, and she was ready to go back to her dormant stage.
We're repotting Putricia's corm today, so she should shoot up a new leaf in a couple of months.
We cleaned her up, we repotted her, we put her into some fresh soil, we checked her corm and she's lovely and healthy, and we actually noticed a tiny little leaf bud ready and waiting to come through. So we are just waiting for her to go through her next cycle, which is the leaf stage, and that will happen for a few years, and then hopefully in a few years, maybe 4, 5, 7, 10, we never really know, we'll have another flower. Following Putricia, I think we became more and more conscious of the limitation of our collection in terms of its genetics, and that we would always need to kind of approach other donors for pollen. Through collaboration with Botanic Gardens, and in this occasion with Belgium Botanic Gardens, we were able to take delivery of 10 very special Titan arum seeds from a beautiful specimen in Belgium. So now we have a few seeds growing, and we will have another genetic line in the nursery, which is just amazing. These are all the different stages of the Amorphophallus, and we actually have in here the seed just as it germinates. So that grew into this, which will grow into Putricia, which is a huge leaf, 4 or 5 metres tall. For me, the most special part of Putricia is how it continues to be part of everyone's lives. It really does. People are still asking me about Putricia, like, by the way, how's Putricia going? I said, well, she's great. And it continues to hold, I guess, a special place in people's hearts. It really is a phenomenon that doesn't make sense, but it happened.